Imagine no access to a grocery store, no fresh fruits or vegetables, or even basic ingredients to make a home cooked meal. What if the only source of nutrition was fast food shops or convenience stores with only processed food or drinks available? This alarming situation is a reality for roughly 23.5 million Americans every day. The problem is called a food desert. A food desert, as identified by the USDA, is a household being more than 1 mile from a grocery store, void of fruit, vegetables, and other healthful whole foods with no access to a vehicle. These areas are often located in poorer regions of a city or town and disproportionately affect lower income communities. In these deserts, there are also health implications, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity, which run rampant in these neighborhoods. Studies show that these effects result in poor academic performance and behavioral issues in children. Therefore, poorer communities that already are unhealthy may have more trouble getting work and consequently becoming less wealthy. This is a fundamental challenge of solving the food desert epidemic. A food desert is both the symptom of and the cause of larger problems within these communities. Thesis: how can architecture provide a positive impact on low-income neighborhoods affected by the food desert epidemic and a socio-economical divide? I ask these questions to research deeper into the food desert epidemic. Integrated growth. Can architecture incorporate urban agriculture and function into its designs? Travel. How can architects provide transportation to grocery stores and food markets? Socioeconomic boundaries. How can architecture incorporate urban agriculture and function into its designs to eliminate class-based boundaries? Integrated growth and habitat. The basic need of all developed and developing countries is access to food. Many creative design solutions in the academic and practicing environments research how to provide locally grown and processed food in city centers. Ideally, an academic source of innovation and design, with no time and economic constraints, blend with the practicalities and implementation a practitioner can facilitate. This combination creates a critical practice studio that opens a forum to explore and advance the larger framework of urban agriculture. The sharing of intellectual properties encourages interaction, discussions, and critiques in an educational and professional atmosphere to better the hypothesis, thesis, and create a uniquely creative solution. Travel and mobility. While only 5% of Americans do not own a car, 15% of taxpayers polled use public transportation to commute to work and shop. However, many commuters avoid or stop using public transportation due to unreliable schedules, long waits at transfer points, or denied services due to overcrowding. Architects and designers must use technical research to identify the inefficiencies of public transportation and how that data can be applied to provide a better and more beneficial commute. In order to determine the most efficient locations for the transit corridor and their transfer points, designers must explore and understand specific traffic patterns and their potential operational stance to the community. The research discovered through this methodology will create a proficient and economical guide for providing all commuters access to their jobs or community services. Socioeconomic boundaries and urbaneering. Compensatory research is a form of research where different disciplines approach design for practical applications, broadening experiences of different education to the creative process and solve complex communal issues. By applying compensatory research to urban environments, a wealth of benefits toward a community's progress and well-being will be seen promptly. Through a series of community interviews and researching local technical data, groups of different disciplines can collaborate to create a revitalized neighborhood. In an effort to avoid the failures of a top-down approach to revitalizing neighborhoods, architects can facilitate community organizations and residents to create the planning process to start the rejuvenation of the community. Commission local artists to rethink how communities gather and congregate can create an economic revitalization in urban areas, and local retail owners can participate in the marketing of the transformation. Designers are only responsible for the flow and structure throughout the neighborhood, allowing the non-design disciplines to expand their expertise into the community in a non-traditional form. Now that we understand our discourse and methods, the program for approaching sustenance to communities affected by food deserts follow the relationship of context and form defined by Bernard Tschumi: reciprocity, indifference, and conflict. Reciprocity is defined by when the program is designed so that it coincides with the form. Indifference is when a selected form can accommodate any program. And finally, conflict lets the program and form purposefully clash to generate unexpected results. In this scenario, conflict was chosen to give freedom to the program and form purposefully, clashing with each other and generate those unexpected results. Program. By introducing Tschumi's conflict to the existing program, a new approach to a continuous problem can be ascertained. Initiating conflict into urban agriculture will reinvigorate the fabric of the neighborhood. Vegetation can be applied to the facade of a dilapidated building, reinventing the cultural context. Instead of buses just taking patrons to the food market, mobile markets bring fresh produce to the community. By reinvigorating the community's market and mobility, can the pride of the neighborhood change the habits and lifestyle, thus reducing or completely removing socioeconomical boundaries that plague these food deserts? Reverse typology. In quantifying what causes a food desert to happen, the social typology of a community's demographics directly affect what and where successful retail and commercial businesses are located. There is a need to analyze what is failing in a desert and how does reversing its typology benefit a community. By introducing a cultural trail through the neighborhood, a new group of consumers can pass through and shop at local retail. Adding green space encourages healthy lifestyle choices that benefit both the existing community and future residents. Reverse typology can take a different approach of understanding what is successful by shifting who and how patrons utilize a community's assets. Urban fabric. Food deserts are often surrounded by run-down buildings and vacant parking lots. The community needs to reinvent their urban fabric with positive reinforcement towards community pride and introduce conflict to the standard approach to revitalizing a neighborhood. Instead of just building a new community center, introducing art and culture strategies that can create, support, and boost a community's sense of place.